Hi, everyone. My name is Susan Patterson, and I am a national leader in the fight against human trafficking. This video is of a talk given at our National Faith Coalition Against Human Trafficking Zoom meeting by Jeannie Soto and Gail Marconi, who are great examples of a team that volunteers for their church to raise money for nonprofits. It often becomes clear after working on this issue for a while that one anti-human trafficking ministry can't do it all. This is where you reach out to your youth groups, your women's groups, your men's groups, seniors groups, etc. Both Jeannie and Gail are retired and are great examples of the kind of leadership seniors can provide for any help that you may need. If you would like more information on our upcoming Faith Coalition meetings, just go to our website, throughgodsgrace.com. If you are looking for more creative ideas on how to raise money for anti-human trafficking efforts, this video on how to raise money and love doing it will provide scores of ideas, and you can find it at our channel, and the link for that is in the video description below. Please do support our work by subscribing to this channel and liking this video. Let's begin.
So I'm the chairperson of the Faith Ministry, and Gail Marconi is communications and fundraising, and she does so much more. We were formed in 2013 with several parishioners that got together after Susan came and talked to us. And St. James joined us a few years ago because they came and thought that they might want to start their own, and decided since we were so far ahead and they didn't want to spend 3 or 4 years to get where we were, that they would just join us. And we always invite anybody that would like to participate, Catholic, non-Catholic, it doesn't matter, to join in our ministry. Please do give us a call, email us. We're more than happy to welcome you to our meetings. Obviously, the mute has already happened. I think most everybody's put in all their info and questions in the chat. So our mission in fighting human trafficking is understanding the issues and consequences. And we had to educate ourselves first, obviously, and promote human trafficking awareness and education, which we do with schools, LAUSD, private schools, community groups that want to know more about human trafficking. And then the protection of all vulnerable people, which are the survivors, the victims, foster kids, runaways. These are all people that are, single parent families that only have the one parent. They're all vulnerable. And so we pray for the protection of all of them, and as well as the people that help take care of them. We've raised about $50,000 since 2015, donated 14 LA County nonprofits that support, rescue, whatever, human trafficking victims. We've done in-kind donations to 9 nonprofits with, toiletries, backpacks, and of course we have an annual parish giving tree, which is a tree that our parish has at Christmas, that our ministries that serve others have ornaments, and on those we have the gifts of what that particular group would want. So we've usually managed to get rid of all of our 200 or 250 doves that we have, and they are always so wonderful. Our parish is very, very generous, and we are so grateful to have such a very generous group. Of course, our first fundraiser was Christmas wreaths. Wreath sales was our first one, and our giving tree, obviously, a collection of cash and gift cards, shopping events, and dinners with speaker and raffles, and our tea, which has been one of our most successful revenue streams, and raffle. And again, it's doing one at a time, get good at it, and then do the next one. So that's kind of what we've been building upon: the first one, the second one, the third one, and just different events that we know will interest our community and our church. So we never had virtual before until COVID. So in-personal is just the personal connections with everybody, the NGO that we sponsor, the people that attend, our members, our pastoral group, and then it just takes a lot of time. and it's being orderly, is the best way I can think of say it. It does take a lot of time. The virtual is less personal. We did our first one for our Saving God's Children Tea, which was last September, and we did a pre-recorded program. We had to do a lot of planning. It requires more advanced planning than the in-person one. And most of the work, again, is done up front. So the day of the event was really not a lot of work, just minor things of having people around. But we weren't too sure if we were going to be able to even raise half of what we had raised the year before with the same tea, and we ended up doubling what we made. So it can be done, and of course, God was with us all the time. So we give thanks to Him. So our keys to success. So it was different with COVID, obviously. We couldn't have it at the venue. So people ordered their tickets online, and they could order a tea service. The tea service they could go to Chato tea place that we had. They would pick up their orders there. We had little gift bags with them with information, etc., in there, bookmarks, etc. And then we asked her, here's what we did. We recorded the event. It's going to start at, I don't remember, 2:00, something like that. And so we had people tune in to watch that on YouTube and then put it up on our St. Lawrence website as well. And that was, and then the raffle tickets were sold by members of the faith ministry. And our raffles are also very successful. And that brings us a lot of money as well. And Gail will go more into this. We had sponsors for the first time this past year, and that was very successful. So anyway, so that's it for that. Obviously, we have the support of our church and our community. They know who we are. Our surrounding churches, not just Catholic, but Protestant, temples, etc. They know who we are. Knowing the knowledge of your audience also helps. And again, that's having them attend presentations, having information available to our church community. And then we have a great deal of support. We have a wonderful pastor who supports us wholeheartedly on everything that we do, as well as the 2 associate pastor priests. And yes. Okay. So, and then the parish staff is phenomenal. You know, the people that help us with copying and all that stuff, they are just really, really wonderful. And they help us out with everything that we need, whether it's putting stuff on the website or be able to pay online. All of that is done by our staff, and we very much appreciate all the help and support we get from them. We determine the nonprofit that we want to give to, obviously. We usually try to give to a nonprofit in the LA County, since that's the area that we serve. Again, we plan early, and we start small and build to larger events. And this is where Gail takes over.
And thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. So for some reason, we've been very lucky with our fundraising, and I think it's prayer. I think it's our devotion to this incredible task of fighting human trafficking. And so we approach our events sort of with 2 goals in mind. One is to educate people and continue to do that, even though we've continue to do strictly awareness events. And then secondly, to raise money. And each time we have an event, we become a little more successful in raising money. And as Jean said, even on the virtual one, which was a lot of a big learning process for us. So I want to take you just a little bit deeper and give you some of the details of how we organize around an event to make it all successful. And first, of course, you need an event chair. And then what this circle is showing you is some of the other categories of that we need to focus on. And we don't always have enough people that we have a separate person in charge of each of these categories, but you need to be sure you have someone focused on each of them: finance, publicity, so forth. Sponsors, if you're going to do sponsorships, and I'll talk a little more about that later. The NGO and program person, I'll talk about on the next slide, but that's basically the person in contact with the nonprofit that you want to serve, and also putting together the program. So it's really a joint effort of putting a really good planning committee together who is dedicated and who's willing to participate in regular meetings, whether they be on Zoom or in person. So I think we can go to the next slide, Jean. We start with a planning committee, and then we start with a project timeline and project plan. That's sort of been my expertise over the last several events, but without this, you can't really manage something that is as complicated as what we've done with our tea, for example, or a dinner. And we're giving you just an example from an Excel spreadsheet of things that we would include in a project plan. Who contacts the venue, all the items that go under your budget, your income, your expenses, your profit. And then when you're done with the event, you need to say, how did we do compared to our budget? But income for us has been in a variety of areas. One is ticket sales to your event. And that's raised about 25% in our last virtual event. And then we've done raffles very successfully, and that brings in about 20%. And then this past time we did sponsors, which also brought in about 20%. And that takes a lot of advanced planning. But donations has been a significant part of our fundraising. And that's donations either at the event or prior to the event. And you need to find ways to kind of reach out to your parishioners, but even to a larger group, to make sure that you can touch people with what you're trying to do. So the next few slides are just taking each person and what their duties are. And I'm not going to read everything on these slides to you, but I want to get you to have an idea of what each of our people focus on. Whoops, we missed a few, Jean. So if we could go back. First is our event chair, which I talked a little bit about. Whoops, I think you need to go to slide number 11. It should be the next one. That person oversees the planning committee and all of our volunteers. Whoops, there we go. It's floating around. We begin our planning for our tea, and we've already started planning for something we hope to hold in September in a live event. So you have to start early with your planning committee and getting commitments from everybody. And this will be our third time to do it. And we count on people that have done it before. So it does get a little bit easier each time. You need to contact your venue generally about 6 months out to make sure you can get on their calendar and identify what you're going to charge. You need to track your income and expenses once you start spending money and being able to bring money in. Then we have this other assignment that we're calling NGO and program lead. And Jean has traditionally done this for Faith Ministry. She's our contact with the NGO that we are supporting. And she works with them on who they will provide for speakers for our event. Last time it was a video. So it could be a video, it could be a speaker, or a combination of those. And also what literature they could provide on their organization. Then we outline our own program and who will speak for our ministry. And we always include a member at least, or two of our clergy when we do an event to open in prayer, talk a little bit about our ministry perhaps, and then obviously close in prayer. And then identifying the AV needs. If you're doing even a simple event where you might need a microphone, but if you're getting more complicated, you may need, speakers and screens and the ability to do any number of things depending on what your program is. So our next critical category is publicity, because in order to be successful, you need to get the word out, certainly to your immediate organization and parish, but even to a broader community. And Susan's always been helpful in allowing us to advertise our events with her. But we create a schedule early, usually 4 months ahead. And we do a save the date. We have to design flyers and bulletin announcements and everything kind of with the same theme. And we've been very lucky because we don't do 4-color glossy printing, but our parish office is able to print things for us. And that saves on money because every dollar you save is a dollar that you can pass on to the organization that you're supporting. We send info to other parishes and organizations. We've also established over the last several years, and we have an ongoing list of those people who have either supported a Christmas wreath sale or come to one of our events. So we have contact information for all of those people, and we send an email blast out to all of them about what's coming up for us. And then we're also trying to create a social media presence for our ministry, and we're a little bit new on that, but we're making some progress, and we did it for our tea this past time around, and we need some younger members to help us with that, and luckily we have found them, which is really helpful. So we have a category that we call administration that helps us track our sales and sponsorships and donations. They've been the one that sort of creates what we call a donor card and an email that would be asking for donations. And again, this is where we've been so successful. We ask our members to reach out to friends and family all over the country. And we've been pretty successful. I have a number of friends on the East Coast where I grew up who love to support our events. And so we feel that our reach is widened because of that. And then we also have to work on, and we plan this in ahead, on any thank you letters to all of our donors, to obviously speakers, anyone who's involved in helping us make this work. And we're working on trying to do that through a mail merge type of thing to save a lot of time and energy. But the thank yous are extremely important in letting people know, that their donation made a difference and how successful the event was. So the last several events we've done, we've had a raffle, and that involves creating tickets and printing them. Again, we do that all on our own, or we buy we get the little ticket stubs that you can get. Getting raffle donations from local businesses and friends, and people are actually now contacting us wanting to donate. So that's lovely, but they're important. And we don't do huge items. They're in the $100 to $200, maybe a little bit more range, but we last time raised almost $2,000 just on our raffle with this and selling tickets in advance. And what we learned last time is if you have a virtual event, you then have to deliver your raffle winner the items to people. So that's something to build into your planning early on. We've also had someone that helps us with what we call gifts and literature. And that person helps us determine who we're going to give gifts to. We like to give something, a small gift to our attendees. It might be fair trade chocolates. It might be a bookmark from the faith ministry. But we also like to do maybe a gift to our speakers and survivors that attend any of our events. We have a rosary ministry at St. Lawrence, and that we often give rosary bracelets to those folks, and that's been a popular gift. And we use a special medal for our human trafficking sponsor. So we determine the literature that has to be handed out, and as Jean mentioned, last time we put everything in gift bags, and we were able to send that out with the food when people picked up their food. But a gift bag, even at an event, is a nice way to do something in person so that people can take those items home. This past year, we did sponsorships for the first time, and this needs a huge amount of lead time. We actually brought in $3,500 from sponsorships. We were quite thrilled that was able to happen. And but to go and reach corporate sponsors or individuals, you really have to have a lot of information for them. So we created an info sheet and a commitment form and sponsorship levels, sort of borrowing from a number of other organizations that I've worked with over the years. And then we went out and just started talking to people. And sometimes they can't be sponsors and donate money, but they'll donate gift cards, and we can always use those in some capacity. But again, it's broadening our reach. and our ability to raise funds. And so we count on every member of our ministry for their contacts and how we might reach out to the community in terms of that. So what we've learned is it takes a lot of planning, and starting early is really the most important part of that. And I'm going to turn this back to Jean now.
Anyway, in-person event, virtual event, kind of the differences between the two. You can kind of see for yourself. There's slight differences. And again, in-person event, more people there at the actual event, more time at the virtual event. Obviously, most of it's pre-event. So our final planning meeting, committee meeting, is just what went well, what didn't, lessons learned. We figure out what our actual to budget was. And again, we send thank you letters to everybody. In fact, we have found sometimes we send a thank you letter and people are so, I don't know, they just are grateful that we send them a thank you letter and they send us more money. So but we do want to thank them for their support. And obviously we put in our church bulletin and thank our parishioners for their support. And again, Gail's already covered this. We add the new attendees to a previously compiled list.